Thank you so very much once again. In this third episode, we are going to learn again how to deal with opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system. How to deal with opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system. How to deal with opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system. I would like to remind us that in our episode 2, we have labored ourselves and we've understood the dangers of opposition philosophy in creating good governance, meaningful democracy, and justice. And we have seen dangers as divisive, as discriminative, as killing the spirit of nationalism, as creating imbalanced society, and many others, as you can refer back to that episode 2. So in this third episode, we are learning and we are going to see how to use opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system. It is worth noting again in the very outset that a society is a society if everybody else is brought on board and their circumstances and their issues are listened to, addressed for their benefit. That is the society. A society that there should be are unanimous in thought, are unanimous in will, are unanimous in motive. How can we use opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system? Going back to the history, as we have seen in episode 1, the history of opposition philosophy, we have seen that it all started in the year 1966 when Oginga Odinga, the then Vice President, and the President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta differed ideologically. And in that regard, we saw that Oginga supported a socialist system of economic revival, while the government headed by Jomo Kenyatta supported the capitalist system of economic revival. And there was that difference in thought, which of course mutated to a political difference. Mutated to a political difference. And we saw that history in our episode 1. In episode 2, we've seen the dangers of that philosophy based on that kind of political division. And now we want to see how to work with opposition philosophy in a positive manner in a new system. It all started based on ideological difference. Ideological difference. That one is very important because that is when it started. But it started based on a difference in ideology. Socialist, capitalist. Oginga was against the fact that the former colonizers were to fund the running of the government through capitalist system. He supported a socialist or a communist system, that of the people of Africa, the people of Kenya. So that, according to me, as I said in episode 2, was appreciable because people must disagree, but they must disagree ideologically, healthily, friendly disagreement. So going forward, opposition philosophy must be worked with ideologically. Ideologically, people, if at all we must differ in Kenya, we should differ ideologically. And the finer points of our differences ideologically should be informed by our good faith for the people, our good faith for ourselves as a people, for our goodwill for ourselves. If it is for the leaders, their good faith for the people with whose power they are in such positions. The opposition philosophy, friends, must be dealt with ideologically, because I am aware that people must disagree. People can oppose each other. But how is the question? How is based on idea. Idea. It was about idea when it started, before it could mutate to other things. It was about idea. As Oginga, I'm seeing that socialist is the best. As Kenyatta, I see that capitalist is the best. So we should disagree ideologically. What will it take for us to disagree ideologically? What will it take? It must take something. It must take something for us to disagree ideologically. It will not just come. It must take something. It must take something. It must take a new system of governance. It will take a new system of governance. In which the people themselves must agree that it is ideas that can change their circumstances. And it is not only ideas, but ideas that can be trusted, that can be relied upon, that have time frames, that are not exaggerated, but are actual to the needs of the people, and puts the correct framework and blueprint of how such ideas can be executed when one or when a government is formed. So it will take a new system that starts with the people themselves. The people must love ideas. The people of Kenya must love ideas, friends. I must repeat this in a very emphatic manner. The people of Kenya must love ideas. The current system has reduced the people to beggars. If you're a beggar, you must kneel before whoever you want to give you food, or whoever you want to get food from. You must kneel. You must sing their song, however much that song is piercing your ears, is abusive to you. That is the state at which the current system has reduced our people, because the current system has therefore created a framework in which only particular people have all the powers. And we saw this in our episode 1, that it all started by two families, Kenyatta's family and Oginga's family, in a ideological difference, which again was improved to a community struggle and a community difference in idea. The Agikuyu community, the Luo community. And we saw that in 1969, Jomo Oginga Odinga left the KANU regime and formed his new KPU party, Kenya People Union Party. A move which created a fertile ground for the President Jomo Kenyatta to ascend Daniel Arap Moi in office as Vice President. And therefore, three communities started this struggle. And this opposition philosophy, we saw that has been sustained by these three communities in Kenya up to date. Therefore, it is only leaders from these communities who everybody else in Kenya believe is to be the president, especially from those families. Up to date. Therefore, what am I saying? I'm not against those communities, neither am I against those families being in power, but what I'm saying, I'm against the manner at which the opposition philosophy has been successfully sustained up to date, and therefore the people are united, and therefore the system can't help the people. Therefore, a new system must be created, a system that is idea-based and not ethnic-based. It is Agikuyu community, it is only Kalenjin community, it is only the Luo community. Where is Kenya as a community here? Where are Kenyans? We need a new system that is driven by the spirit of nationalism. Kenyans, and therefore Kenyans embrace idea. Themselves, they must embrace this idea. For themselves, they must have their own ideas to present. And themselves, they must accept only ideas from people who come to themselves to be elected. And by this new system of idea-based, so people, let people bring their manhood and their womanhood based on how good their brains are, how good their will is, how good their intentions are, as can and could be understood from their ideas. Must not only be ideas, must be trustable ideas, must be reliable ideas, must be an idea with a time frame, so that if that time frame elapses, therefore we question you, and if you can't answer, we impeach you. We need that new system as a people, so that we struggle with each other ideology, idea-based. In parliament, we struggle with each other idea-based. Idea. It must be idea that can be implemented, that can be executed for the benefit of the people. Ideas that the people themselves can bring forth in a public participation framework to be implemented by their leaders. In our legislative houses, we must never be controlled by emotions, because we want to make our political party leaders from our ethnic groups happy. We must make the people happy, the people of Kenya happy, by how we argue ideas out. And that, of course, if you are keen here, we must never have winner takes it all, or we must never define ourselves and our democracy by numbers. No. We must define, instead of numbers, it be in idea, so that the well-argued idea, irrespective of the number of people who have argued it well, we must go with that idea as a people. Whether he is one person, whether they are two people, among the majority whose ideas cannot measure up to our circumstances as a people, we must go by that minority group or by that majority group. Our focus is not the majority, neither is it the minority. Our focus is on the ideas that can measure up to our circumstances as a people. Ideas. For this to happen again, besides doing away with this number kind of defining democracy, we must also create a system where ascension into leadership positions is not free as it is free now. It must never be free this way. We should come up with a fair framework, but objective one, which only allow the people with good intentions to come to the electorates, so that we check their moral values drawn from the community past life. We check their ethical standards drawn from the community. We check their will and intention drawn back from what they've been doing in their community and in their various places they've always been. We check their academic credentials. We put it at a neutral point, of course, degree. So that we ensure that ascension into our positions of leadership is not just a walk, but it is a bit a mountainous climb. A mountainous climb. Because by improving the qualification, therefore, we shall have people, men and women in leadership positions who are idea-based. Not men and women who are financially stable, and their stability they attained by accumulating our own resources initially. We have idea-based people, and by this new system we shall give everybody else opportunity as a people to come request our votes, contrary to how it is now, where we have closed the door to all other good intentioned people, and we've created a very huge open and wide open door for people who are financially stable and people who do not mean good for us, but would want only to increase their bank accounts. We need a new system. We need a new system. In this new system, it is not a must that whoever wins takes entire system unto himself and decide who is to come in or who is to be out. We have a system where everyone who has a will to serve, we give them opportunity, and they share that opportunity in our governance architecture, so that whoever has good ideas, they be in the top hierarchy of our governance system. Whoever is following in that root of good ideas be in the second hierarchy, and we distribute all of them, and we bring everybody else in service. We should allow them to come from each and every region, from each and every community, so that by this new system we are all included and we are all contributing ideologically. It must never be right that one man can be clever than over 50 million of us, so that we are only waiting for his own agenda to guide us. No, I refuse that. We must all contribute, and we must all be represented genuinely and not represented based on the mercy of someone. How to work with opposition philosophy in a positive manner in the new system. We must work with it ideologically, because that is how it started. By this ideology, we must create a new system that is driven by the people themselves. The people must be lovers of idea. They themselves, they must have ideas. They must have need and desire to learn and have ideas to present. They must only embrace people, men and women, with ideas. And they must not only be ideas, they must be trustable idea, they must be honest idea, they must be reliable ideas within a particular framework. And of course, when one fails to achieve within that framework, we question them. And if they can't answer, we impeach them. We impeach them. In that new system, the debates in the legislative houses must not be emotional, must not be political, must be idea-based, for the benefit of the people of Kenya. We must distribute people in our leadership structures. It must not only be owned by a particular person. Then that particular person, now everybody else, the 50 million of them, are under his mercy. No. Everybody else must be invited, and people with the best idea to hold the highest hierarchy, people who follows in that best idea to follow in that hierarchy, and we distribute each and everyone with a will to serve with their idea and with their will to execute their idea, be distributed in our governance system, and we be included, and we be represented, and we be accommodated, and we as a people remain as the impeachers when one fails to live by his promise. That is my take. That is my take. I still request, join our group Voice of Kenyans movement. We learn, we empower each other for the benefit of our people. Kenya is our business, and we shall share our thoughts until everything else is solved, and until people are elevated above their poverty levels. Thank you. Aluta, luta, luta. Continua.